Hello everybody, welcome to Tpull's Corner, and we start with deck tech instead of a fight because we are at the end of Travis Plays the Premades. We have 10 Premade decks that Wizards of the Coast gave us to play with, but we can't play with them in Modern Standard. They made them with Alchemy cards and with Arena Online cards and stuff like that. So you could play them in Alchemy, you could play them in Historic, but they didn't put too many cards in. We're at number 10. This is the last one. So if you're new, go ahead and like and subscribe, if you will. And you can check out the playlist for Travis Plays the Premades. And as soon as I post this one, we'll have all 10 of them where we play them, we dissect them, we talk about what we can do with them. And as always, we could always take these 3 cards out and this 4th card out and put 4 other cards in, and we could move it over to Modern Standard. So Wizards didn't make it too tough on us, but they did definitely want to bring more attention to the Alchemy format and persuade us to try these cards over there. So what we've got going on is kind of a sacrifice deck. We've got 3 Sanitarium Skeletons. You return them from your graveyard to your hand for 3 mana apiece. They're just basically sacrificial fodder. And we've got 1 Pelagian Antiquarian. This is the 1 Alchemy card they gave us. For 4 mana, you get a 3/3 with haste, which is okay to start with. When it enters the battlefield, you conjure a duplicate of another non-token creature or artifact you control in your graveyard. The duplicate perpetually gains Unearth. So, when it says perpetually, I don't think you can keep bringing it back, though, because when when something has Unearth and you bring it back, it gets exiled. So, I guess perpetually just means that you can't, wherever you move it to, say like you bring it back to the graveyard without using Unearth and it dies again, it'll still have Unearth. But the Unearth ability only allows you to pay the 2 mana and bring it back to the battlefield once before it goes into the exile zone. So perpetually is the digital term, and I think the conjure a duplicate thing is also kind of a digital only thing for Alchemy. But that's not a lot. So the rest of it is kind of lacking, for lack of a better term. We have Ashnod Flesh Mechanist. We can sacrifice and create a Power Stone token. You can exile a creature card from your graveyard and get a 3/3 zombie artifact creature token. Ashnod's Intervention to bring creatures back. Corrupted Conviction to sacrifice and draw 2 cards. Final Flourish. You could sacrifice this to kick it and give something a -6/6. 3 Gitaxian Infiltrators. Whenever you sacrifice another permanent, you get a +1/+1 counter on it. Powerstone Fracture. You sacrifice an artifact or creature to cast a spell and destroy a target creature or planeswalker. Vran Executioner Thane. Whenever 1 or more creatures you control die, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life, but it only triggers once a turn and they only give you 1 copy. 3 Etched Familiars to help you out with that. When it dies, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. We've got 1 Phyrexian Dragon Engine, 2/2 with double strike, and 1 Mishra Claimed by Gix, and if you combine them, you can meld and create that lovely Mishra Lost to Phyrexia you see to the right with all sorts of goodies that you can do, which is awesome, but it's kind of tough to meld when you only have 1 copy of each. Only 1 copy of Urbrath's Forge, which is a pretty good card, but it's weird. I mean, it fits in here because you're going to sacrifice this token at the beginning of the next end step. And if they can't get rid of artifacts, this can be a game breaker. Charforger. When it enters the battlefield, create a red Phyrexian Goblin creature token. When another creature artifact you control is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, you get an oil counter on Charforger. By the time you get 3 oil counters on Charforger, then you can exile the top card of your library, and you can play that card this turn. Good luck getting Charforger to stay on the battlefield for 3 turns in a row where you lose a creature or an artifact. That's a tough call to make something out of this card. Stormclaw Rager. You can sacrifice another creature artifact and put a counter on it. You can only activate it as a sorcery. Testament Bearer. When it dies, look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put 1 of them in your hand and the rest in your graveyard. 2 Flyers. Sengir Connoisseur. 3/3 flyer. When 1 or more creatures die, put a +1/+1 counter on it. But again, it only happens once each turn. And for March of the Machines, Rankle and Torbran. 3/4 with flying, first strike, and haste. And you get to choose any number of these 3 things if you deal combat damage to a player or combat damage to a battle, but they didn't give us any battles. Each player creates a treasure token, each player sacrifices a creature, or if a source would deal damage to a player or battle this turn, it deals that much damage +2 instead. And they didn't give us, they gave us some duplicate lands, some double lands, I should say. It's not the, there's no field or rune there or anything like that. It's just kind of uninspiring. It's like, you look at the removal cards, there's 3 Power Stone Fractures and 3 Final Flourishes. That's only 6. They have access to red, and they didn't use any damage-dealing spells at all from red. And only 6 removal spells for interaction. It's really kind of tough. If they have any kind of flying attack, what are the odds that you can beef up the Sungear fast enough? It takes 5 just to get it out, and it's a 3/3. You're kind of behind the mana curve at that point already. This feels like it's kind of like the bottom of the barrel. Like, I don't know, like interns put this together with half an idea. And I hate to sound so critical, because I do like the game itself. And they've got a lot of people working on this game. And I don't blame them for wanting to get some attention on Alchemy. And at the same time, I'm not mad at them for doing this in terms of making Alchemy decks, because they just included so little that it's just so easy for us to go modify these if we happen to like one of the decks and move it over for ourselves and just import it into our deck list. Was I supposed to mulligan just because... Oh, never mind. They gave me what I need. I just had to be patient for a turn. Is this a mirror match already? Let me bring out my Etched Familiar. And just say hello to a potential mirror match. Yep, it's a mirror match, alright. No. Come on through. Because what we're going to do is we're going to sacrifice our Etched Familiar to get rid of Mishra. That's a big one to get off the board. And as usual, my opponent does not miss a land drop, and I am being starved for land. There's a 4th one. A little late. They now have their 3/3 flyer before I can get mine. As we wait for them to make a move, we remind you to like and subscribe. What do we want to do with this sorry state of affairs? Oh, they managed to kill it anyway, because they have 5 lands. I think I need land. Regretfully. And what am I going to be able to do here? I'm really behind the curve. This only brings it up to my hand, which isn't enough to stop anything. I can do this to kind of stop these 3. If they have another removal, I'm up a creek without a paddle. And that shows you how bad things are when you miss just 1 land, even in something as simple as a mirror match. It might have been different if we had additional types of interaction besides Power Stone Fracture, which itself is only a sorcery, and of course they have theirs. And beating me with the deck does not convince me it's a good deck. Arena. Yeah, I don't have board wipes, so this is hopeless. I'll tell them good game. That was not a good game. I got land starved so hard, and they did not miss a land drop, which happens every day on this. Every day on this game. You just sort of have to get it out of the way. Maybe I should have played this one earlier. There are a couple of decks that I liked. I like the Sylvan Wisdom. I like the Arcane Aggression. I like the Grave Secrets deck. The Rebel Armory deck performed okay. But this one does not inspire me. Even from first glance, even after playing it. I mean, maybe, if we go against a slow deck, and we have time to build up everything that we need, it would work. I kind of need to be able to build an entire line of creatures without them being destroyed. Stormcloud Rage doesn't help me, right? It can only activate as a sorcery, so that gets exiled. Okay, so we sacrifice that now, we trigger Vran, and we pump up the Stormcloud Rager. We managed to do a grand total of 5 points of damage, including what we did with Vran. Is this supposed to be a 5-color deck we're going up against? Oh, I didn't even look at the deck size. That's a lot of cards. We'll bring the skeleton back up into our hand, and if we're able to next turn, we can bring it down and use it as sacrificial fodder, assuming they don't have a board wipe. Legolas! Okay, so we bring down skeleton. We do Power Stone Fracture. Target Legolas. Sacrifice the skeleton. Trigger. And that is game. So there's kind of the ideal way for the deck to work. When your opponent is only able to get rid of one of your creatures and put down one of the creature, then you can win. I don't know, it's like they opened a Cracker Jacks box and poured out a random assortment of the little free toys that you give away. And they put a little hint of something in here and a little hint of another thing in here that might be fun. But I'm not convinced it all adds up, really. But we know from the first mirror match that there are other people out here in Alchemy playing with these premades. We don't want to give up our infiltrator just yet. We'd rather pump it up. bring in our double striker. The Wildwood Patrol can't stop that. So it's going to have to take 4 more points of damage. Missing land, but they have creatures that can do the... They have the mana darks already, so that's not bad for them. Alright, second Infiltrator comes down. We sacrifice a creature here to kick this. We'll get rid of the 4 damage creature. And we sacrifice our Skeleton, which is recyclable, that we can get back. Watch the 3 triggers. And then swing in with almost everybody, right? Well, swing in with those 2. Opponent takes everything. We have gone through our entire hand already. They could bring down a 5-drop, right? 6. They could do 6. Gigantosaurus! Okay, what can we do? If they block those as 3, 4, 5, 6... Yeah, let's run them in now. They're gonna lose the Loam Speaker because they have to block. No, that's gonna. You're gonna die from that. You can't just block a 1/1. They'll figure it out. Okay, they gave up the ghost. Okay, it looks like they had land trouble. So that's another way we can win, is if Arena makes sure that their opponent has land trouble. That's not the most exciting way to win. Maybe we can actually play with Wrinkle and Torbrand this time. Part of my issue is looking through the deck. There's just not a lot of power here. You know, we've got 2, 3, 3, 4. We could pump some of these up over time, but they're not the fastest things in the world. That comes in tapped, right? Let's bring out the Infiltrator now. I'm not sure that I would want to use Ashnod's Intervention on that. Just keep it alive if they did want to remove it. Don't really feel like doing anything there. Why waste removal when I could just trade off with it? Alright, I guess we get rid of the witch now. do the only thing that's left for us to do. And ta-da, we have sacrificial fodder. Good job, Charforger. Now we have to have 3 of our other creatures go in the graveyard to get you the oil counters that you need. Let's try it. 1 creature. 1 oil counter. And they have a 4/4 creature that they can throw our way whenever they want. Whenever they want! When they have nothing better to do. But they don't. They don't do anything the entire turn. Probably because they're going to use it as a blocker. Pass. We can get past them with Rankle and Torbrand, because they have flying at least. Uh-oh. Rough Triplets is a big old problem for us. I guess we do this. We run over and hit them. And we give everybody a treasure and 2 damage. See, it doesn't really work that well for the hit from Rankle and Torbrand itself. Let's go ahead and do this so we can bring those back. We'll use up our treasure for that. There's a second counter for Charforger. And a third. They're not attacking with the Gruff Triplets. Why not? We bring this back down again. We attack again. We'll just do Treasure Token. It's not going to do us any good to have them sacrifice a creature right now, is it? And how much damage are we going to have to do to get through all of these food tokens? We are so behind the curve. One target gets -X where X is the amount of life you gain, so they get another removal card. Charforger gets another oil counter and he's still on the field. How about that? I'm expecting these guys to attack any time now. They still don't attack. That's kind of weird to me. Let's see what we got. We've got an Ashnod. That's got Death Touch. That'll get rid of one of the triplets, right? And we can do this one. And that's about all I can do. And now I kind of have to just sit here and wait. I mean, I've got 2 Sengir Connoisseurs under there that can fly. They got 6 life gain they can throw at us right now. And I kind of have to block all 3 of these at once, right? They're looking at Restless Cottage. And Restless Cottage is a problem because it has graveyard hate. It can exile cards from my graveyard, which gives me a problem for when I get my skeletons out. If I ever get my skeletons out. There we go. To get another food. I'm assuming we get rid of Rankle, right? Rankle and Torvin. Yeah, I think it makes sense to trade off here so we can't have them steal anything else from our graveyard again. Charforger gets another counter. Look at that, we're making use out of Charforger. Yeah, we need the Dragon Engine, don't we? That's a lot of land. And that Gumdrop Poisoner just stays there, doesn't it? Okay, we can sacrifice an artifact to get rid of that. Charforger gets another oil counter. Gumdrop Poisoner goes away, never having used their lifelink ability. And if we can attack with these, can we get rid of the Gruff triplets that way? Ooh, look at that. Time is now on my side. And I think I'm just about ready to use Mishra. Uh-oh. With 2 or less, that gets rid of my Death Toucher. Now we're up against 2 6/6s. And all we did was get a land. That is, that's a problem. Okay, so if I attack with this now, I can do 3, 4. I think we'd still die, wouldn't we? 4, 6, 7, 8. Alright, I don't think we have a choice. We're gonna meld. Hold on to your seats, ladies and gentlemen. We might be able to get rid of both Gruff triplets here. That's why I did it. It might be our only chance. So we're gonna have creatures you don't control get -1, 3 damage to any target, and creatures gain menace and trample. So we'll choose that one to take 3 points of damage. And now we can kill both of those if they elect to block. I probably should have attacked with everybody since I have menace at this point. There you go. There you go. It's worth it to get rid of Mishra, isn't it? In the meantime, we are getting such use out of Charforger. Do I have to, like, change my mind about the deck? I don't feel like I will, but it just so happens that we're doing a land battle against somebody who doesn't have a lot of black removal showing up yet. They concentrated on food tokens, which is going to extend the battle, but when you have a sacrifice deck like this, time is actually on your side. The longer you can last, almost everything is better, so to speak, in that sense. Herbrass Forge gets more powerful. I'm just going to bring out Phyrexian Dragon Engine now, as a matter of fact. That way we can draw 3 more cards. Throw that puppy down. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. They can do that with 2 of them. That's fine. Yeah, let's do this too. That keeps them from getting any damage. And we get to pick a card. Oh, and we get 2 more auto counters. Trigger. Oh, we got a flyer. Dragon Engine goes into exile. And now almost all they can do is just... Oh, man. I was going to say almost all they can do is use up their food tokens. That's one nice win condition gone. And they actually got rid of a Melded Mishra. So they haven't been doing too bad. They've gotten rid of both of our biggest impact cards. 3 of our biggest impact cards. And I actually don't have enough mana to do everything that I want to do. But 2 spells a turn is not too shabby. And 8 points of damage takes care of half their health. And if they don't have a good spell, they're just going to have to burn through all their food. Can I just pass automatically without having to... No, I'm going to have to resolve because of Charforger, and I can exile those 3 oil counters. I'll have to make sure to tap each time. Okay, they did what they could. I can't even use the Power Stone Fracture, but we can go see what else is there. Sweet. Almost gotcha. Let's see, so a 3/3, they could sacrifice the food instead. Oh, they can only do that as a sorcery. You could draw a card and lose life. They're gonna. Are you just gonna commit suicide in the game? Oh, they got rid of Ran. I still get 3 triggers off of that. Not sure that helped them any. Four more triggers. Alright, I think we're going to leave it there. Let me go in and dissect the deck. That was actually kind of a fun battle just in a way because you got to, for a change, you got to have a couple of armies slug it out for a while. It's tough to deal with Herbrass Forge if you're not ready for it. They did eventually get rid of it. They had just enough to defeat our Melded Planeswalker when we came up against it, right? So that wasn't bad. Let me go down into, here we are, Scrapyard Sacrifice. So they held their own for quite a while. But these type of decks, time is definitely on your side. And we didn't even have the 3 Sanitarium Skeletons show up in that last one to help us. We didn't have Corrupted Conviction show up to help us with any card draw. Instead, the one that's most difficult to use reliably actually pulled through quite a bit. So I'm kind of happy to be able to demonstrate that for a change. I always feel like if I build a deck around Charforger, I would not be able to make it work just because I'm so used to so much removal being in the environment. And it's kind of strange to go into Alchemy and not face removal. So that was kind of weird, where we can continue to have these kind of slow battles, so to speak. But the slow ones help us, so, I mean, you can win that way. I do like decks that have a lot of triggers. I do like decks that build upon each other. This is not the best synergy deck. You know, we've got the fairies that are out now with Eldraine. If you're going into historical and stuff like that, you've got the elf and goblin decks and the sliver decks and the dinosaur decks that all do really, really well. This doesn't really compare to any of those, but you did see that when you got a few pieces together, we did get quite a few things that caused triggers to fall off. So, you know, I don't know. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of this deck. Is it better than I thought? Am I being too critical? Do you think that it's actually something that's fun to play? I'm not sure I'm entirely convinced, but I was able to meld Mishra and the Phyrexian Dragon engine in a match as well. I just can't help but feel that like the tempo of the fights was kind of slower than usual, in that I kind of had an easy break in terms of not facing nearly as much removal cards as I tend to do most every day here on Arena. But that puts us through at the end of the 10 pre-made decks that Wizards of the Coast made, making them all with Alchemy and Lord of the Rings cards and stuff like that, or Arena Online cards in the case of Sanitarium Skeleton. I do have a poll that's on the post page of the YouTube channel. So go there, and it asks what your opinion is of what Wizards did with these pre-made decks. Did they do okay by making them an Alchemy? Did it piss you off? Does it convince you to play Alchemy any better? Or do you think that they should have just been making pre-made decks for both formats this entire time? Let me know what you think, and we will stop messing around with the pre-mades and just go back to making our original decks next time. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. Remember, like and subscribe, and have a good one. We'll catch you next time.